Brandis, the next round of stimulus negotiations are well underway as Congress braces for the second impeachment of former President Donald Trump. Now, yesterday, President Joe Biden held an Oval Office meeting with 10 Republican senators who have proposed a dramatically scaled-down stimulus effort. Is compromise possible? Here to talk about that and much more are Congresswoman Robin Kelly, a Democrat from Matteson, freshman Congresswoman Marie Newman, a Democrat from Chicago's Southwest Side, Congressman Bobby Rush, a Democrat from Chicago's South Side, and Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, a Democrat from Schaumburg. And we should note that we invited every member of the Republican Illinois congressional delegation. None accepted our invitation tonight, but we do thank you all for joining us. And before we start, let's outline what's in this $1.9 trillion Biden stimulus proposal. It includes $1,400 individual checks, $400 enhanced unemployment payments, money for vaccine distribution, and money for state and local governments. Congresswoman Marie Newman, you saw Republicans propose about $600 billion, dramatically scaled down from the Biden proposal. Is there a number less than $1.9 trillion that would retain Democrat support?
You know, I think that it would take a lot because most of the Democratic caucus thinks that 1.9 trillion isn't quite enough. So I think that it would have to be some unusual negotiations. Here's what I think is that when you come back in a negotiation and you're coming in at less than a third of what was offered to you, A, it's a disrespectful offer. B, they're not serious at all. And C, they don't allow for any money to cities, towns, and states and counties. And therefore, they don't care about vaccine distribution. They don't care about mental health services, health care, any of the services provided at the state, local, or county level. So it was worse than inadequate.
That state and local government aid is very important to all four of you. Congresswoman Kelly outlined specifically what would be coming to the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois and their cash-strapped budgets.
Well, each state would receive, not just the state of Illinois, but they would receive money around vaccines and money around transportation. And then there's money, of course, for vaccines, and the city gets their own, and it's separate from what the state of Illinois receives. But we're hoping, like what happened last year, every state, city, small town, large town, they were all supposed to get money last year and then the spring of this year, which of course we got through the House but could not get through the Senate. So we want to make sure that we're sending money to the states and the municipalities because they've lost so much money because of COVID and not getting the tax money and the revenue that they're used to getting. So it's extremely important that we get money to them and get money to them for transportation needs.
And Republican leadership has been against that money for state and local governments. Let's hear a little bit more about that meeting at the Oval Office yesterday. Here's what White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki had to say about it.
Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi have both said they would also like it to be bipartisan. We'll see what comes out of this meeting today. And if there are good ideas to put forward, we'll put forward them. There's still time to do exactly that. And even if through the parliamentary process that the Congress will decide it moves toward reconciliation, Republicans can still vote for that. And there's certainly precedent of that in the past.
Congressman Rush, this reconciliation process has already begun. That's where the Senate would need only a simple majority of 51 votes to pass this instead of a filibuster-proof majority of 60 votes. So they wouldn't need Republicans for this. Is this the right path to go down, or would it start the Biden era off to a hyper-partisan start?
Well, I would think that with the actions of the House of Representatives, particularly as a result of the January 6th debacle and insurrection in the Capitol, and with the Republican majority voting to not to impeach President Trump, I would think that it's pretty clear that we have a divided government in Washington, and frankly, I would think that reconciliation is the only way that we can go. Look, I've been there long enough to see Republicans supposedly negotiating in good faith, and then they will get the compromise vis-a-vis the health bill, Obamacare, and then at the end of the day, they voted against it. So I don't trust the Republicans. I think that we have to do what we have to do to deliver to the American people some much needed results, be it reconciliation or any other way. I think we got to deliver the goods.
Congressman Krishnamoorthi, what about that? Would you prefer that there be Republican votes on this bill, or, as Congressman Rush said, do you prefer that it just gets done and it's big enough to accomplish what you want it to?
Both. I'd love to have Republican votes on this bill. I think we would all like it to be bipartisan, but at the end of the day, the pandemic is too serious. The healthcare crisis is too grave, and our economy is slowing down now again. And my constituents are demanding that Washington step up to the plate and help save the small businesses that are about to close. Still 50% of restaurants in Illinois are about to close their doors without any more relief. Unemployment benefits are about to expire on March 14th, just weeks away. And state and local governments are crying out for aid. I just received a letter from the village of Schaumburg saying that year over year, they've lost a large portion of their sales tax revenues because of the pandemic. And if we don't assist them, they are going to lay people off, the very people that we need to help with the response to COVID. We've already had 1 million people laid off across the country in state and local government. So we need to get results right now, however it's done.
So clearly, to all four of you, that municipal government aid is very important. I want to shift gears for a second, talk about safety on Capitol Hill after the January 6th insurrection. You heard Speaker Pelosi say, quote, "The enemy is within." There are still a presence of National Guard troops in Washington, including from Illinois. Congresswoman Newman, how safe do you feel in the Capitol?
Well, luckily, we have this amazing force of National Guardsmen that are watching over us, and I feel safe in terms of them being there. I will say I agree with Speaker Pelosi that there are some folks that I don't feel safe around. And I'll be very clear, because we're asking her to either resign, be taken off the Education and Labor Committee, and actually her office, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is who I'm talking about, her office is directly across from me. Right. And she's said some incredibly hateful things. She's acted as a white supremacist. She follows QAnon. She has demonstrated that she's not stable. So her office is directly across from mine. She intimidated Cori Bush. I just want to finish this thought. She intimidated Cori Bush, and I saw the tail end of that. Cori was right to take her staff and keep them safe. I admire that. I am not going to move, even though she makes me nervous, and I fear for my staff's safety. That said, the leadership is doing everything they can to keep us safe and keep guns off the floor. But I do want to be clear that I agree with with Speaker Pelosi that there are folks that should be investigated, and if they're found guilty, they should be expelled.
Now, you mentioned Cori Bush. That's a congresswoman from St. Louis, and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia. We're going to get more into her and what should be done about her in our second segment. We're going to leave it there for now. We'll be joined again by Congress members later in the program to discuss, among other things, Biden's immigration plan. And a reminder, we invited every Republican member of the Illinois delegation, but none accepted our invitation. We do thank Representatives Kelly, Newman, Rush, and Krishnamoorthi for joining us. Thank you so much, everybody. And now